dismiss with prejudice is granted.
Actor Alec Baldwin brought to tears in a New Mexico courtroom after a judge's decision to dismiss his involuntary manslaughter case. Good evening. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Crystal Bailey. Misconduct of police and prosecutors. That's the reason why the judge in Baldwin's trial said the case must go. Fox's Connor Hansen has been following the trial over a fatal shooting that happened on a movie set.
Dismissal with prejudice is warranted.
A tearful moment in court Friday as actor Alec Baldwin learned he will no longer face prosecution for involuntary manslaughter after the judge dismissed his case. The New Mexico judge determining the state withheld evidence that could have provided information on how the shooting occurred. The ruling means no prison time for Baldwin, despite fatally shooting cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of Rust in 2021.
We did everything humanly possible to bring justice to Helena and to her family, and we're proud of the work that we did. Again, we disagree with the court's decision, but we have to respect it.
The evidence in question, ammunition, the defense argues was mishandled. The judge at one point came down from the bench to examine it. Attorneys for the actor grilling a crime scene technician about the bullets.
Would you agree with me that the two most critical items in this case from an evidentiary perspective were probably the firearm in question and the live ammunition that struck Ms. Hutchins, right?
I would say the firearm and the live ammunition from the set.
Baldwin's lawyers had been asking for the case to be dismissed just days into the trial. The actor walked free after years of questions about the tragic death. Prosecutors still pushed back, saying the evidence was irrelevant to the case. Alec Baldwin faced up to 18 months in prison if he was convicted. The film's armorer was found guilty and received the maximum sentence. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Legal analyst Michael Cardoza says he's shocked by some of the decisions prosecutors made in this case. He spoke with KTVU about the judge's ultimate decision to dismiss it.
I think this speaks volumes about our criminal justice system and how we have safeguards in it to protect people accused of crimes against prosecutors like this. You don't get to determine what's relevant or not relevant, especially since that box of ammunition was on the set. So how do you say it's not related? Give it to them. When I was a prosecutor, I used to let defense attorneys in the office and go, look at everything. Here's all the evidence. You determine whether you want it or not. And what speaks volumes is that junior attorney prosecutor quit during the arguments. I quit. That speaks what she thinks about the ethics of the lead prosecutor.
The armorer, who has already been convicted of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the Rust movie set shooting, also says prosecutors withheld evidence in her case. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's attorneys are in the process of seeking a new trial. A judge sentenced Gutierrez-Reed to 18 months in prison earlier this year. And from Hawaii to Utah, wildfires are keeping first responders busy tonight. In California, one case has turned tragic with a life lost. The state's first death of this year's fire season happened north of San Francisco in Mendocino County. Cal Fire crews say human remains were found inside a home that burned during the Mina Fire. Investigators believe the fire started Monday with a burn pile on a property that escaped and spread. A missing 66-year-old woman who was last seen on the property trying to protect her home with a garden hose. The coroner is working to confirm if that woman is the remains. The Mina Fire has burned 98 acres. It's 70% contained tonight. More than a dozen homes have been destroyed by Arizona's Watchfire. It's burning about 130 miles east of Phoenix. Fox 10's Brian Webb caught up with the one fire victim who lost a home that's been in her family for generations.
This is ground zero to all the damage and destruction in San Carlos. Several homes in this neighborhood have burned, but several others are still standing, and some of the fire is still smoldering several hours later.
Have a moment of silence for everybody, but we just gotta continue going forward.
A wildfire war zone, more than a dozen homes destroyed, like this one that stood for 3 generations in the Sisto family. How are you holding up?
I gotta be strong for my grandkids. So I have to be there for them.
The Watchfire started Wednesday night, fueled by dry brush and hot weather, and pushed into neighborhoods by strong monsoon winds.
And then when the storm cells came through, it pushed the fire into the community, down the riparian, into other structures.
Crews spent the triple-digit day cutting burned branches, stamping out hot spots, and removing downed power lines. Patrick's home survived barely, and it wasn't by accident.
Keep the areas clean around the house, you know.
And that saved you?
Yes, it did. Well, help save the area, you know.
Local radio station KTVU is the hub of information around here, broadcasting the latest news to and from tribal leaders.
Here we are a lot of elderly people that are not really into technology, or not really tech savvy. They fall back on radio every day, radio all day.
No one was badly hurt or killed in the fire, so next, residents will rebuild and recover. It's the Apache way.
Stand strong, just like historically how Apache people have been. So that's what we can do, is just move forward with prayers, you know.
Fire officials say this fire is human-caused and likely started by arson, but exactly who started it and how is still unclear at this time. In San Carlos, Brian Webb, Fox 10 News.
Firefighters say they're getting the upper hand on a wildfire burning in Hawaii. The Crater Road fire has burned about 355 acres on Maui since Wednesday. Concerns on the island remain high as residents approach the one-year anniversary of the deadly Lahaina fire.
Of our one-year anniversary of our island's wildfires, I realize that as a community, we're experiencing many different emotions. Any fire can be very concerning and distressing to many of us. I want to assure you that the county and the state are collectively working together to maximize our resources and, most importantly, to keep our communities safe.
The Crater Road fire is 70% contained tonight. We have no reports of injuries or damage to structures. Oregon's Larch Creek fire has burned more than 13,000 acres east of Portland. Fox 12's Dylan Scott had a chance to speak with the crews on the fire line.
The Larch Creek fire has now hit its fourth day with more than 13,000 acres already burned. Fire crews from really across the region continue to come out and battle these blazes, hoping to get at least a bit closer to containment.
Never know. We got to be prepared.
In 31 years of firefighting, Oregonian Kyle McMahon has learned one key factor about fighting fires in this state.
We try to control it as much as we can, even though Mother Nature, she's going to do what she wants to do with it.
That has been the case the past 4 days as the Larch Creek fire continues to grow in size. Swirling winds and tough terrain making the line of fire tough to contain.
You get it over one spot and then it just wants to do something else, and then the winds shift on you 360 degrees like they did yesterday on us.
Despite this wildfire burning more than 13,000 acres, these fire departments are hanging their helmets on saving lives, with no major injuries to report thus far.
It's about building those relationships. We had a lady come down, and she got up to my window and just said thank you and started to cry. That's why we're here.
McMahon and local officials expect this fire will likely continue for some time, and unfortunately serves as a reminder that these wildfires in Oregon and beyond are here to stay.
Temperatures rising, fuel droughts, the world's just in a changing environment, and what we saw 31 years ago or 5 years ago, 10 years ago is not what we see today.
And with the continued unpredictability of this Larch Creek fire, officials tell us anyone in a level 3 warning should evacuate sooner than later. Just southwest of Duke, for Dylan Scott, Fox 12 Oregon.
Investigators believe that fire was human-caused. Utah's Silver King fire has grown to more than 15,500 acres. A lightning strike started this fire last week about 150 miles south of Provo. Some residents in Marysvale have chosen to evacuate on their own. Fire crews are warning others in the same area to be ready to evacuate if necessary. Extreme heat and strong winds have been brutal for firefighters across the West this week. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who can break down the temperatures we are expecting this weekend.
Yeah, still some hot temperatures in the forecast, and unfortunately, we're talking about the possibility of some lightning strikes as well. So take a look at the fire weather forecast model. In fact, when you see these colors, it indicates fire danger could be on the increase. So as I step out of the way right now, we'll show you things kind of flaring up once again for tomorrow across parts of the west. Now, some parts of the west cooling off a bit, at least compared to right around California. We will bring in some cooling for portions of the west. You can see the highs from today, though. Once again, another round of real hot temperatures out toward Tucson, out toward Palm Springs, and in portions of Northern California. A lot of these excessive heat warnings and heat advisories will go away for tomorrow, but still will be focused in portions of the desert Southwest for tomorrow, linking up into Arizona as well. This was Seattle today. Lots of sunshine, 83 degrees, a beautiful day there. In San Francisco, you're looking out toward the fog, pushing back into the bay. San Francisco, a high of 66. And then as we head towards Southern California, they have the same fog bank as well. This is Santa Monica, nearby Los Angeles, reporting 80 degrees. Showing you the current temperatures out there right now. We do have Denver, 90 degrees, up in Portland and Seattle. Temperatures in the 80s, and it's 112 degrees in Phoenix. You can see the marine layer clouds hugging the portions of the California coastline, and still some thunderstorms developing out toward portions of Nevada, out toward parts of Colorado as well. Here's the plan for your Saturday. It's still sunny and warm up in Seattle. It's a hot forecast for Denver. Temperatures approaching at least in the 90s, getting close to 100 degrees. And then Southern California, a place like Los Angeles, temperatures will be in the low to mid 80s with some patchy fog in the morning. So here is the breakdown, as you can see, with your temperatures for tomorrow up and down the West Coast from Washington and California, Southern California, and in Arizona as well. That's for your Saturday. And then as we take a look here at the forecast model, you can see some more thunderstorms that could develop into your Saturday afternoon out toward parts of Utah, out toward Colorado and New Mexico. And then as you can see, as we take this in your Sunday, pretty much the same story, even out toward the Sierra Nevada, right around Lake Tahoe, there could be some thunderstorm clouds as well. So here is the forecast over the next 3 days. Some 80s up in Seattle, San Francisco, some patchy fog in the morning, then some high clouds into the afternoon hours. But the Bay Area will begin to cool off. They've been dealing with excessive heat warnings over the past several days. It is still dangerously hot in Phoenix, 113 degrees. So some areas will bring in some cooling, but other areas, as you can see, remaining in the hot range, approaching triple digits over the next several days.
I wonder if I could do some portraits and then do a little mini photo shoot right there. Nice. Yeah, it looks good.
Portland sets the stage for images like these going viral. Coming up, we'll introduce you to the street photographer whose work has probably shown up on your social media feeds. And we'll check in with tech experts. They'll break down what we need to know about a massive AT&T security breach. Families of the Idaho workers killed and injured in January's airport hangar collapse are filing a wrongful death lawsuit. This week's filings are against the construction companies involved in the private hangar site at the Boise airport. The suit alleges the companies recklessly cut corners. It asks for unspecified monetary damages for killing 3 people and injuring 9 others. An investigative report performed by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration is expected to be released in the next several weeks. 1 person is dead and 2 others are missing after a tourist helicopter crashed into the ocean off the island of Kauai. Hikers reported seeing the aircraft plunge into the water off the Nepali coast early yesterday afternoon. 1 body was recovered about an hour after the crash. Coast Guard crews kept searching for the other 2 people who were on board overnight. The identities of those on board the helicopter have not been released. The FBI and the Department of Justice are investigating a massive security breach involving tens of millions of AT&T customers. AT&T says a hacker stole records of calls and text messages from nearly all of its wireless customers between May and October of 2022. A cybersecurity expert we spoke with says AT&T customers should be cautious about hackers trying to use the information for phishing attacks to get personal, account, or credit card information.
The worst case scenario is this can be used to understand your behavior. For example, who you're calling a lot. And that's who you trust. So they can get information from you about your bank, about your personal information like social security, date of birth, sell you something, for example, and fraud.
AT&T says the information stolen does not contain the content of calls or texts or personal information such as social security numbers. And we spoke with Cooper Quinton, a security researcher at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, about the risk to AT&T customers.
The essential problem here is that companies like this are storing millions and billions of customer records, and they're not taking appropriate steps to secure it. This information is getting out, it's getting leaked, it's getting sold to criminals and to other to spies and to other law enforcement entities to be used for purposes that you might agree with and purposes that will certainly cause harm to many people.
AT&T says it is working with law enforcement to find who is responsible. One person is already in custody. The company said in a statement, in part, quote, "Our top priority, as always, is our customers. We will provide notice to current and former customers whose information was involved, along with resources to help protect their information." They continued, "We sincerely regret this incident occurred and remain committed to protecting the information in our care." Now, a Portland photographer's work is getting a lot of attention online. You may have seen his social media posts showing how he walks up to strangers and asks whether it's okay for him to take a few pictures. Fox 12's Bonnie Silkman caught up with him to see how he's creating a bit of magic with his camera.
I do impromptu portraits, photography portraits of strangers.
Capturing the many faces of Portland.
I'm not a stranger. You're not a stranger. I like that.
Creating interaction and art on the street with total strangers.
Hey, I do portraits of strangers just all over Portland. I will approach randomly, just people on the street. Loving the hair, looks great. Yeah, I'm wondering if I could do some portraits and then do a little mini photo shoot right there. Nice, yeah, it looks good. Sometimes it's like a minute.
My Uber arrives in 1 minute.
1 minute? We could do 1 minute. Sometimes it's 10 minutes. I've had some go like even longer where we're just like completely vibing and having a fun time.
Can I do some crazy?
You can do, yeah, whatever you want.
I've dreamed about this.
Oh, beautiful.
The man behind the click of the camera is Ryan.
People have been extremely like open to experience this new weird thing that I'm doing. I create these reels for social media. It's the video of me approaching, which is why I have the GoPro on. And then I interlace the portraits into the video. So it's kind of like a whole package.
And today, this photographer is letting us tag along.
This is kind of what it's like, honestly. A lot of walking.
But what or who exactly are we looking for?
It's like impossible to describe because it's a feeling. I have a sensation, a pulling sensation when I cross someone and I'm like, all right, that's the one I want to do a portrait of.
And after about 15 minutes...
Hey, excuse me. Hey, I do portraits of strangers.
Ryan finds his first subject.
Sure.
Yeah, you down?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Ryan says it might look easy, but approaching strangers takes guts.
I think like, wow, why am I doing this to myself? Like, that is so painful. I wonder if I could take pictures.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah? Okay, look at that. I thought I was going to go the opposite direction. It's like jumping into an ice bath. You just have to commit to it. And then once you're in, it's like shocking at first. But then you calm down and kind of are part of the experience.
About 80% of the time, people like Katie are happy to spare a few moments to create a new memory.
What did you think of the experience, like that moment when he approached you?
I was a little caught off guard at first, but no, it was great.
Well, you were really good and natural.
Thank you.
And while Ryan sets his focus on his next subject, we notice he keeps getting recognized.
Everything going?
Good to see you, yeah.
That's because millions of people are watching his work online, mostly on his Instagram page called Pale Blue Wave, a metaphor for the ups and downs of his life, including when he was sidelined by hip surgery. Hitting that low point is how Ryan discovered finding beauty in the mundane.
Coming back from hip surgery, I had to do a lot of walking, and throughout that walking, I kind of realized I was neglecting a huge artistic part of my life.
Now, he's trying to do this full time.
I really love the cowboy hat. I think it looks awesome. Wonder if I could take some portraits.
Cultivating connection in a world of disconnect.
One big theme is like most people have like big headphones on or headphones in. Hey, excuse me. Hey, I do portraits around Portland, but it is nice to just like surprise break someone out of that, bring them into the moment, and then create something together.
It's nice to be seen. I like
getting to like see the different kinds of people who live in our community. It was fun.
Well, that's pretty awesome. If that interests you, go check out his Instagram page. That was Fox 12's Bonnie Silkman reporting. And Ryan's work gets 4 to 5 million views on social media each month. A Colorado 11-year-old on a mission coming up. How this Good Samaritan hopes you'll learn from his experience.
If I can inspire other people to do that, those people will inspire other people to do that, and it's just an infinite loop.
Well, the world's first hydrogen-fueled ferry service will soon be running on the San Francisco Bay. The MVC change is set to launch on July 19th. Today we got a sneak peek and a ride aboard the ferry. The 70-foot catamaran is powered 100% by zero-emission hydrogen fuel cells. The ferry is owned by Switch Maritime and developed with help from a grant from the California Air Resources Board.
This is not about San Francisco, and it's not about the Bay Area or even California. This is a world-changing event. Maritime creates about 3% of the world's greenhouse gases. Hydrogen is the solution to that problem, and we're going to start solving that right here today in San Francisco.
The 75-passenger vessel will travel between the Ferry Terminal Plaza and Pier 41, which is Fisherman's Wharf. It will have a 6-month demonstration period, which begins next Friday, and rides will be free during that time. And finally, tonight, a Colorado boy hopes you'll be inspired by what he's doing. Fox 31's Nate Belt shows us how he's turning what you drink into an opportunity to help others.
Parker Thomas is enjoying a can of lemonade on a hot summer day. Refreshing as it is, it's what's on top of the can that he's interested in.
This is around 103,000.
103,000 tabs, all collected within the last year. Each one headed to the Ronald McDonald House, which provides help for families with kids in the hospital.
They recycle these and use the money to help families stay there.
Thomas's mom, Nicole, says a family friend received help from the organization.
We got to go there, we got to experience what it was like.
Which encouraged Thomas to get involved. To boost his numbers recently, they posted a call for help on social media, and it's worked. He's gotten tens of thousands of tabs in just a couple weeks.
I just feel like this is making such a big impact on the community.
They've also got collection jugs out in a few places around town. Hoping to add more to local businesses, Thomas's mom is proud to see him helping those in need.
I have always said that Parker's going to make a difference in the world.
And Thomas hopes other people will stop to think before tossing their lemonade cans as well.
If I can inspire other people to do that, those people will inspire other people to do that, and it's just an infinite loop.
All right, saving the world one can tab at a time. That was Fox 31's Nate Belt reporting. Parker says he wants to collect 1 million tabs before turning them over to the Ronald McDonald House. And thank you so much for watching tonight. This is West Coast Wrap. You have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Good night.